All right, great morning, superstars. This is your host, Taria Hodge of Social Media Saturdays. Welcome to another fantastic episode, How to Increase Your Productivity with Rhythm and Flow. And if you are out there and you could see me and you could hear me, do me a favor, go ahead and type into the comment section, Taria, I could see you, Taria, I could hear you, and then we will get this party started this morning. Okay, so if you're out there, you could see me, you could hear me, just go ahead, drop a comment and let me know if you could see me and you could hear me. I'm having a little trouble finding my feed this morning and I'm not sure why. Let me check on over into the group and see if we are in the group. And I think I found us. So if you are out there, you could see me, you could hear me. Hi, Barbara. How are you this morning, my dear? Drop me a comment and let me know if you could see me and that you could hear me. Facebook has been doing a little wonky stuff lately. I just switched over. So I know many of you have probably been on the new version of Facebook for quite some time. And I literally just switched over like 2 days ago. So things are a little kind of wonky. I was getting some error messages here in my StreamYard that things weren't working, but if you could see me, you could hear me, just go ahead and let me know. So I am super excited to have our conversation today. And today, we're going to talk about how to increase productivity with rhythm and flow. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation on Social Media Saturdays, I know it's a little bit out of what we normally talk about on Social Media Saturdays, which is tips, tools, and strategies to help boost your social media. But today's conversation will go right in the vein of serving. So you guys hear me talk about it all the time, how to show up and serve, right? How to serve more. And there's a couple of things that have come up for me and also for some clients and colleagues as well over the past couple of weeks that I thought it would be really great for us to have a discussion around it here on Social Media Saturdays. So once again, great morning, Barbara. Thank you for letting me know that you can see me and you can hear me this morning. Okay, so we are going to keep this party bus rolling. And so today's conversation, we're going to talk a little bit about productivity, right? And so our conversation today is for you if you find yourself like struggling to own your agenda. Okay. And what do I mean by struggling to own your agenda? One of the things that I look at when it comes to the things that we're doing in our business and even the things that we're doing in our life, are you struggling to get the things done that matter to you most? So that's the question, one of the questions, right? That's on the floor. Are you struggling to get the things that matter to you most done? Hi, Carla. How are you? Thank you so much for jumping on this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And then also, if you find that time is slipping away from you. So how many of you feel that way? Like, can you believe we are entering into September already? It's September, guys. Okay. So the third quarter is almost done. We have 30 days left before we complete the third quarter and we move into the fourth quarter, the last 90 days of the year. So it is like kind of crazy, like how this year with everything that's going on, it feels like time just literally flew by. Okay, so if you are finding yourself that your minutes are turning into hours, your hours are turning into days, and before you know it, your days have turned into years. And the worst part is you have some goals on your goal list, and those things aren't getting done. Okay. And so I see that Carla is out there and Carla is saying that, yes, it's moving crazy fast. Okay. Yeah, Carla, everything is like, it seems like it's just going by in a blur. Okay. So I wanted to kind of have that conversation today about productivity, and where I had to catch myself over the past couple of weeks. And I always think that it's a great idea. Like when I experience challenges, or, I see things that my clients are struggling with, or even colleagues are struggling with, for us to have a discussion about it on social media Saturdays. And I see that Harsh is joining us from Periscope. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us from our Periscope family. Okay. And so if you are tuning in to the broadcast, and this is the first time that, you are coming across Social Media Saturdays and you're wondering what this is all about, this is Social Media Saturdays. It's a live online broadcast platform dedicated to helping coaches and consultants grow their business by sharing tips, tools, and strategies that you can use to leverage the power of social media. And I am Taria Hodge, the social media strategist. And what I do is I help you make your brand shine online. And when I talk about shining online, I talk about 5 specific things. So I help you show up powerfully and consistently. I help you hone in on your ideal clients, your perfect clients. Also increase your influence and impact into the marketplace, nurture and educate your audience, as well as creating an experience around the brand. So if you hear me talking about shine, now you know exactly what shine stands for. Okay. And I see that Deborah has joined the broadcast. Great morning, Deborah. Thank you so much for jumping in and joining. And then we have Roz out there this morning. Great morning, Roz. Thank you so much for jumping in and joining us this morning. Okay. And so before we get into our conversation, and I think it's a very hot topic, it's a very worthy conversation to have today. I'm excited to share some things with you guys, as well as kind of get your feedback and kind of check the temperature of where you are in your business in relations to your goals. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning. But before we do that, okay, you know what I always like to do here on Social Media Saturdays? I always like to find out where our superstars are watching from. So if you are out there in the comment section, go ahead and drop me a comment and let me know where you are watching from. So if you are watching from the DMV area, and so the DMV, Maryland, DC, Virginia, that's where I reside when I'm in the continental US. So for those of you who are out there in a DMV, great morning to you. Right now, I'm currently in the US Virgin Islands. Okay. So I'm still on my extended half and half. Okay. So this is one of those times, right, where, like everybody else, things are going a little unexpected, and I'm here longer than I actually planned to be, but it is a-okay. Okay, so just let me know where you are watching from, and then after you share where you are watching from, I want you to put in the comment section who you serve in your business and how you serve in your business. Okay. So who do you serve in your business and how do you serve in your business? Now, this is one of the things that I ask all the time, for you to put who you serve in your business and how you serve in your business, because one of the things that I absolutely love to see is the virtual networking that happens here on Social Media Saturdays. Okay. And so I love the connection that happens when we are doing the broadcast. And then I also love the connection that happens after the broadcast, where people come back and they watch on the replay and they say, oh, wow, I could connect with this person because, people always tell me that they do, right? Or whether you're connecting inside of our Social Media Saturdays community. So do not miss the opportunity to share with us who you serve and how you serve in your business. Okay. And I see that Carla is out there, and Carla is hailing from Indiana. So thank you for that, Carla. And Barbara, she is watching from Port Arthur, Texas. Thank you for putting where you are watching from, Barbara. I hope with all of the rains and the weather that you guys did not get impacted a whole lot. So I'm praying for all of my people in Louisiana, Texas, where they just had, I think it was a category 4 hurricane the last time I checked. Okay, so prayers goes out to you as well if you are in those areas. And I see that Deborah is watching from Chicago, Illinois. Great morning, Deborah. Thank you so much for sharing where you're watching from. And then Brenda is watching from Michigan. So great morning, Brenda. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us this morning. Okay. And so Deborah is out there, and Deborah is saying, I serve speakers, helping them to get speaking engagement. How awesome and how wonderful is that, Deborah, that in a time like this, you are providing one of the most pivotal services for speakers out there. So that's another conversation that I've been having, quite a few times actually, how business have changed for a lot of our speakers, and now they're shifting in their business events, they're shifting networking, and they're also shifting how they're taking advantage of speaking engagements. So for those of you who are out there and you kind of watch, if you're a speaker and you kind of watch, everything kind of shift in your business, and you're wondering, what you can do to get back on track, Deborah is letting you know that she helps speakers find speaking engagements at this time. So once again, thank you, Deborah, for putting that information in there. Okay, so you see what happens when you show up on social media Saturdays, you actually get a shout out, right? And I tell people what you do in your business, how you serve, and how you could help them. And then last but not least, I'm going to ask you to put in the comment section how we can connect with you. Okay, so if you have your Facebook business page, go ahead and drop the link to your Facebook business page in the comment section below. That way we could connect with you. Or if you don't have a business page, please feel free to add the link to your website. Okay, and that way we could connect with you through your website as well. And then also what I do here that's a little bit different, if you have some type of free resource that you would like to share with our superstars today that would allow us to see a little bit more on how you serve in your business, go ahead and drop the link to your free resource. Now, I also have to shout out another superstar. I haven't seen her showing up on the broadcast as yet, and that's Peg Duchesney. The last episode that we did, Peg actually shared an awesome, resource. And I think it was kind of like a personality resource, right? For you to check your serving style or check your marketing style. I can't remember the exact name of it right now. But it was such an amazing resource. So after the show, I went ahead and I went through it and printed everything down. And when I tell you, it was so good. So thank you, Peg. If you tune in and you watch this on the broadcast, shout out to you for putting that amazing resource in our comment section last week. So I definitely appreciate it because it was absolutely wonderful. And like I said, I printed everything down. Okay. So Carla is out there, and Carla is saying, I serve women to help them realize their true amazing value. Women that have a pattern of bad relationships after the next, and to help them develop a positive mindset and habits which will help them begin to live their life with value. So thank you once again, Carla, for putting that information into the comment section. And then if you can, you could put a link to either a free resource, a link to where we could connect with you as well. Okay. And then Barbara is out there, and Barbara is saying, I serve school principals. I help turn low performing schools into high performing campuses. And she could be reached at barbararaypolk.com. And then she also has her Facebook group, Principals, on the come up. So thank you, Barbara, once again for putting that information into the comment section. Okay. And then also, today I actually have two things for you today. Okay, as far as giveaways. So first, the how to identify who you're called to serve workbook that is still available for you. So if you have not received your workbook as yet, you could look in the description above the video and you could click on the link to grab your workbook. Okay, so the workbook is available to you still. Okay, so you could grab your workbook. And then also, what I'm sharing today is notes from our episode, because once again, I thought that this is, was such a good, or is going to be such a good conversation. We haven't had the conversation yet, right? So it's going to be such a good conversation that I thought in advance that I would share the notes with you. Okay, and the notes are just some of the things that I keep in mind, as I go through my business, as I go through my life, to make sure that I am living towards my vision, right? Okay, that I'm working in optimal productivity. So if you would like to receive the notes for today's episode, in the comment section, just go ahead and type notes. And then after the show, I will send the notes to you via Facebook Messenger. Okay, so if you would like to receive a copy of the notes, just go ahead and just let me know you want the show notes. Okay, and then I'll be able to send those out to you after the broadcast. Okay. Hi, Florence. How are you? Thank you so much for jumping in and joining us this morning. All right. So let's go ahead and jump right in to today's topic. Thank you, Brenda. I see Brenda and Carla said that they want to receive the notes. Yes. So I'm pretty excited about today's topic. Okay. So today we're talking about how to increase your productivity with rhythm and flow. And one of the things that I'm going to share with you is that I heard this quote this week as I was doing all my reading and, my podcast listening and making sure that I'm pouring into me first. I heard this quote and it kind of stuck out with me, and I wanted to share it with you this morning. And the quote is, and it's a Brendon Burchard quote, right? So many of you know that I absolutely love Brendon Burchard, and he's like my virtual mentor, right? So if you have a vision, you would work your life for it. If not, you would work your life for someone else's. Okay, so, and that stood out for me. If you have a vision, you would work your life for it. If not, you would work your life for someone else's vision. Okay, and I really thought that that was powerful, and it was on time for me. Okay, because and then I'm going to share with you what my experience has been over the past couple of weeks. But for any of you out there who are struggling to own your agenda and get the things that matter to you most done, okay, maybe that would ring true with you as well. Okay, so today on today's broadcast, we're going to cover a few things. Okay, so number one, we're going to cover what's required from you to live your vision. So do you know what's required from you to live your vision? And then I'm going to share with you some productivity tips, 10 productivity tips that would allow you to win your day. And then we're also going to talk about a big one, right? And this one is the elephant in the room. So it's the one thing that's holding you back. Okay, so as we go through today, start to think about, the things that are holding you back from living towards your vision, that's holding you back from being as productive as you would like to be around your business. Okay, so if you guys would allow me to share, I think one of the things that I had to kind of come face to face with over the past couple of weeks is being able to, understand the reason why I'm feeling, or I was feeling, that I wasn't being as productive as I know I could be. Right? So how many of you out there struggle with that from time to time? Okay. So you experience these periods of times in your business where you feel like you are not as productive as you can be, or that you're not being as productive as you can be. Okay. Or maybe you're struggling a little bit with, getting focused or staying focused. Okay. In your business. Okay. Or maybe you just feel overwhelmed because there is just too much stuff to do. Okay. So how many of you have ever felt like any of those three things? You feel like you're not being as productive as you need to be, you're having trouble staying focused, okay, and you just straight up feel like there's just so much stuff going on, I'm overwhelmed. Okay. And so the thing is, are you able to recognize when you are feeling that way? Okay. So this is the thing. The thing is to be able to recognize that you are, feeling this way, or things are changing inside of your business before things get out of hand and then you start to spiral down. Okay. And so how many of you, when you are going through like any of those things that I just mentioned, right? The first thing shows up is the quality of your work, right? The quality of your work falls short. So if that's you, like when you're feeling overwhelmed, you have trouble staying focused, you're not feeling productive, how many of you, can say that it shows up in the quality of your work? So if that's you, go ahead and type a 1 into the comment section and say, yes, Taria, that's how, it shows up for me, right? My quality of work suffers. Okay. How many of you, when you are feeling non-productive, you overwhelmed with too much stuff to do, you're being troubled with staying focused, you feel resentment about the things that you have to do or the people that you have to do them for, right? So if that's you, type a 2 into the comment section. So, sometimes you walk around and you find yourself being mad and you don't know why you're mad and you're frustrated, right? So if that's you, put a 2 into the comment section. Okay. And also for you, are you the type of person, that says yes to everything all the time? Okay. And then when your plate is overloaded, right, you kind of sit and you ask yourself what happened. Okay. Or do you find yourself as the person that people always call on you all the time, right, and consistently put things on your plate? And so if that's you, type a 3 into the comment section. Okay. So yes, if you are out there, number 1, if your quality falls short when you feel like you're not being productive and you're not staying focused, type a 1. If you're out there, it shows up for you when you start to feel resentment about the things that you have to do or the people that you're working with, number 2. And then number 3, you find yourself saying yes, to people all the time. Okay. So Barbara is saying that she's a number 3. Okay. I see Audrey is saying that she's a number 1. Okay. And so how many of us out there have been all 3, at one point, right? So I think me personally, I have been all 3. Okay. At one point, or sometimes I might even feel all 3 at the same time. Okay. So, and it's a good check-in. And the reason why I ask these questions, because it's really a good check-in for us to do every now and again, so we could remain present, okay, about the things that we're feeling, the emotions that we're feeling, and why we're feeling these emotions as we go through our business, as we strive, we're on this journey to grow our business. Okay. So a couple of weeks, and I'm just going to share this story. So a couple of weeks ago, I think the burnout bug hit me. So I was feeling burned out, and like the lack of focus. That's what it is like, I know that I have stuff to do, but finding myself doing everything else except for the stuff that I know that I'm supposed to do, the most important stuff. And it wasn't until I had a call with my coach and we started to unpack a few things, I realized what was happening. So what was showing up for me, I started to feel some anxiety, right? And the anxiety showed up for me like Sunday is supposed to be my day of rest, right? So that's been like my ongoing challenge, is to have one full day of rest in my business, a day that I just rest and relax and really don't turn on the computer, right? So I am still challenged with that. So how many of you, out there are like still challenged with getting rest? Okay. And so how the anxiety started to show up for me is like, even though I'm trying my best to rest, my mind is still racing on all of the stuff that I have to do. Okay. And it started to feel like I wasn't getting any rest. It's like I'm supposed to be resting, but mentally I'm like tired and I'm burning myself out mentally. So why is that? And so we kind of had a conversation around it. And one of the things that became quite present, it wasn't obvious to me before, was that, you know what, we are in the end of August going into September, and I have not had a vacation. Okay, so how many of you out there have taken your vacation? Do you have a vacation schedule? Right? And I know for some entrepreneurs, you're probably out there like, what the heck, a vacation? We get one of those? Yeah, you do get a chance to take a vacation. Okay, so I realized that 2020, and I tell people like my shift and my pivot for 2020 started way before the pandemic. Okay, so my shift came at the arrival of my grandbaby that came 7 weeks early. Okay, and from there, it's been like nonstop. And coming back, from the hospital with her, we moved right into the pandemic, shifting around the things that we're doing in business. And, I talk about it all the time, being able to make those shifts because there were things that I had planned to do in my business as well, things that didn't happen, but I had to find more creative ways to stay on track with my business. And once again, I had to make a pivot around that. And it seems like I've been just going. And then she asked me, well, when are you going to take a vacation? And I was just like, oh, wow, a vacation. That's a novel idea. So I'm happy to let you guys know I'm on vacation after the show. So after the show, my vacation starts and I'm taking a whole week off. Okay. So I see Carla is out there. Carla is saying vacation. What is that? And then Audrey is saying only staycations, vacation in driving distances during the pandemic. So Audrey, here's the thing. And I know with everything with the pandemic, things are kind of limited for what we can do. Okay. And let me just say this, even for me here in the Virgin Islands, because I'm here in the Virgin Islands and I'm tickled because people seem to think that I'm on the beach like every day, all day. No, I am not on the beach every day, all day. Unfortunately, I spend most of my time in front of my computer working. Okay. And so for me, what I'm looking forward to being able to do, hopefully next week, I'll have some beach time in there. But I'm just looking forward to being able to get adequate rest and rejuvenate and let the creativity flow back into my life and flow into my mind. Okay. So, Carla is saying, yay, and don't work on your vacation. Carla, let me tell you, I have 2 daughters and they are already planning for me. Okay. So you should hear how they're talking about me already. Okay. So yeah, so that's the thing, being able to schedule the time, the adequate time for us to get rest. And not only do we need to physically rejuvenate, we also need to rejuvenate mentally as well. Okay. And so that's one of the things now that I'm learning to be present about, like when it seems like my brain is locked up, on stuff, how do I catch that early? And one of the things that I need to do, to not go into that spiral. Okay. And so the question, one of the questions that I thought about as I prepared for the show is, what is required to live your vision? Okay. So do you know what is required to live your vision? And so as I pose that question to myself, what is required for me to live my vision? One of the things that stood out for me is the burnout feeling comes when we are working and we're living outside of our vision. Okay, so how many of you out there could identify with that? When you take a look at all the things that you are doing, they aren't things that necessarily pull you towards your vision. So you're actually living outside of your vision. Okay, and as I thought about this, and and I'm smiling to myself, right? Because I actually said, you know what, I need to create a digital vision board, because I actually have a vision board, and I left my vision board in Maryland, right? So my vision board is in Maryland, hanging on my wall, and so I don't have one here. And I was just like, oh, maybe I need to find, some type of software that would allow me to create a digital vision board so I could see my vision board at all times. And then I thought about it. And one of the things that I thought about it is we all have access, to a digital vision board, and it's called your calendar. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's your calendar. So when you take a look at your calendar, are the things that you have outlined on your calendar, all your tasks, all your to-dos, the things that you're working on, are they pulling you towards your vision, or is your calendar just cluttered with a whole bunch of stuff? Okay, so caller is saying I try to be aware. I try to be aware of that in order to stay productive and focused. Yeah, so it's one of the biggest things, caller, that I find myself, like, whenever I'm getting off track, is to go back to my calendar. Okay, go back to my calendar. And it's kind of funny why I'm talking about this, because truth be told, I remember when I first started, like, on this entrepreneurial journey. So I'm just going to be totally honest. Before I was an entrepreneur, there was no such thing as a calendar. Okay. And if you guys have any island friends, or any friends from the Caribbean, one of the things that that we're challenged with time. Like, island people live in a totally different world. They move on their own pace. Nothing is a rush. We're not stressed about anything. And literally, that's how I used to live my life. So I'm just like, a calendar? Who needs a calendar? It gets done when it gets done. Who needs to keep track of time, right? I'll get there when I get there. My friends always stayed mad with me all the time, because it's like, you're never on time. So it wasn't until I started my entrepreneurial journey that I got really present to what it meant to have a calendar. So the first thing, let me just say this, I detested having a calendar, but now I look at it as my accountability system and my intentionality system. Okay. And I'm just going to say this again, intentionality. And so one of the things that I tell people, like, if it's not on my calendar, like, chances are it's not going to get done. Okay. So here's how I've come to take a look at the stuff on my calendar. So here's another thing. So there's a difference of being able to have your calendar and go through writing down all of your tasks and all of the to-dos, all the things that you have to get done. And so how many of you, when you take a look at your week, okay, and all of the things that you have to get done, you have like 50 million things on your calendar for the day? Okay, so if that's you, you don't have to put a comment into the comment section, but I want you to just really think about that, right? So as you take a look at your day, do you have 50 million things that you're trying to get done in a day, or you desire to get done in a day? But when you don't get those 50 million things done, it puts you like into a spiral, right? So you start to feel like you're not productive, and then that unproductive spiral starts. Okay, so that's the first thing. So I hope that you can see how that's the first thing, right? If you start out your day with 50 million things to do, you might get 3 things done, but because you still have 3 minus 50 million minus 3, I should have said 100, right? So if you have 100 things to do, and then at the end of the day, when you look, there's still 97 things left. Okay, you have 97 things left. Okay, then you start to feel like you're not productive. So here's a couple of things that help me with that scenario that I'm going to share and I'm going to pass on to you. Okay, so as you take a look at your things that you have laid out to do for the day, or maybe you've laid them out for the week, being able to identify through those things what need to get done now. Okay, so as you write out and you list out all of the things that you need to do, ask yourself, what should you be working on now? That's the first thing. What should you be working on now? And then the second question that I want you to ask is, what needs to be done by me? So like that's the game changer question right there. What needs to be done by me? So as you identify all of the tasks, all of the to-dos that have to get done, and they have to get done now, do all of them have to get done by you? And then if they don't all have to get done by you, the next question that you should be asking is, who can help me get them done? And that's a question that I ask, myself in my weekly planning and goal setting, right? So every week as I go through, working through my goals and everything, I ask myself, what needs to get done right now? So what are the things that I should be working on right now? What are the things that need to get done by me? Absolutely nobody else, okay, can get these things done besides me. And what are the things that need to be done, but they don't have to be done by me? Who can help me get those things done? Okay, so who can help you this week? So that's one of the questions that I want you to incorporate, okay, into your weekly planning. Who can help you get stuff done? And I see that Barbara is saying, as an entrepreneur, do we ever take a break mentally, or don't we take time to recreate? So Barbara, that's a very good question, Barbara. And I look at it this way. There's a difference. Like I mentioned, there's a difference when you are not allowing that time for rest, and then your brain is going, but your brain is going in an anxious way. So that was my thing. It's like, I know I'm supposed to be resting because that's what my calendar says. My calendar says Sunday is my day of rest. But if I get up on first of all, if I start to feel bad because I sleep late on Sundays, right? So how many of you feel that way? It's like you can't even lay down late. And then you start to feel bad, like, oh my God, I should be doing something, whether it's stuff in your business or stuff around the house, right? You just feel bad because you're in the bed, okay? You shouldn't feel bad because you're in the bed, okay? Yeah, I've heard people say entrepreneurs' light never go out. Here's the thing. If you don't know how to turn your lights out on your own, on your terms, trust me, your lights will be turned out for you. And you don't want your lights to get turned out, okay? So yeah, take the time to rest, okay? And then what I found, after I really and truly got present to resting, your brain never stops working, but is how your brain is working. What are the things that you're thinking on? And so what I started to think on or meditate on wasn't the things that I had to do, but what are some of the creative solutions that I could come up with? Right? How can I be refocused? If I have a goal, okay, what are some of the creative ways that I can now go ahead and achieve, that goal? So it's a difference. It's a difference of working through, like having your brain going, and it's an anxious brain versus a creativity brain. Okay. And the way that you control that, Barbara, if you may, is to make sure that you're just scheduling time for rest. It's a different type of energy. Okay. And so Carla is saying that she tries to be aware of that in order to stay productive and focused. Yes, Carla. Okay. And I think that's why I'm having the conversation, because I found that not only was I challenged with that, over the past couple of weeks, but other people that I spoke to too, were kind of having like the same issues. And then once again, didn't really know why. And when we take a look at it, this year has been a year. I think we have all been thrown upside down, twisted, flipped, everything, right? And we've been caused to make so many different shifts that we aren't really aware and present to some of the things. If we were doing these things, we kind of got away from it, like making the shift and making the pivot. So if you got away from it, this is just a call for you to get back to it. Okay. So the next thing that I want to share is 10 productivity tips. Okay. And so once again, one of the things that I love to do, I love to read, I love to journal. And as I was listening to my podcast a couple weeks ago, I thought it would be really cool for me to come and share with you 10 productivity tips, 10 things that I follow in my business that allows me to stay focused. And like I said, like we all know that we're supposed to be doing these things, but here's the thing. Sometimes life throws us that curveball and we kind of get away from the things that we know that we're supposed to do, and then everything goes into a haywire. Okay, so the first thing when it comes to increasing your productivity with rhythm and flow is being able to set your goals. And I love talking about having goals because goals provide you with clarity around what you want. Okay, so that's the first thing. Do you have clarity around the things that you want? And like I said, are you living towards your vision? So as you set your goals, right, are your goals in alignment with your vision? And the things that you're doing, to hit your goals, are they pulling you towards your vision? Or are you just like literally arbitrarily just setting goals because someone told you that you had to set goals and you really don't see how the goals are aligning with your vision? So that's the first thing. Okay. And then when you set your goals, do you have a yearly goal? So as we started 2020, what was the goals that you had for 2020? And were you able to break those goals down quarterly, like every 90 days? What are you working on? And then within those 90 days, what are you working on monthly? What are you working on weekly? And then what are you working on daily? And let me tell you, this is such a powerful practice, okay? To be able to always go back to your goals and break your goals down yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, and even daily. So every day, okay, every day, when you look at your calendar, are the things that you're doing or are the things that are on your calendar, are they pulling you ultimately towards your vision? Okay, and being able to have the clarity around that. So that's the first thing. Tip number 2, have Friday finishes. Okay, and this one is kind of like a aha for me. So how many of you have your weekly goals set and you said that these things are the things that are going to be done by the end of the week, but you have not set the day that your week ends? And so here's the thing. I realized that if I wanted to have Sunday as my day of rest, then what are the things that need to get done by Friday? And I'm getting things done by Friday. And so when things are done by Friday, I'm not in my mind on Saturday driving myself crazy. I'm not anxious on Sunday because you know what? In my week, I plan to get these things done for Friday. Okay. So once again, I realize that I'm setting weekly goals. These things have to get done this week. But when does my week end? If my week ends on Sunday, okay, then literally, there are things that haven't been completed that are rolling over to Sunday. But no, if I want to experience that full day of rest, I have to get these things done and off my plate by Friday. The third tip is scheduling block time. Okay. And so you heard me talk about my calendar and how having a calendar was the best thing that I could do for myself in business because it created accountability and it also created intentionality for me. Okay. And what one of the things is that it did for me is have a system, create a system and a structure. And having systems and structures create freedom. And I know we talked about that a couple broadcasts before, right? So do you have systems? Do you have structure in your business? Because your systems and your structures are actually the things that create freedom in your business. So as you go through your day, are you scheduling time, like block time to work on specific things? So here's the thing. Don't start your day and say, you know what, these are the 3 to 5 things that I'm going to get done today. And then you have set no time in the day to work on these things. Okay. So set your block time. So if you are writing your newsletter, what's the time? What's the block time that you have, in your day that you're going to write your newsletter? Okay. If you're preparing to do your videos, okay, what's the block time do you have in your day that you are getting what you need to get done in order to prepare for that? Okay. The fourth tip that I'm going to share with you is taking the hourly breaks. So how many of you are guilty of sitting in front of the computer all day long? Okay. And that used to be me, sitting in front of the computer all day long and not realizing that I'm not taking any breaks. Okay. And then here's the thing. You want to know why you're tired, why you're burnt out. It's because you're sitting in front of the computer all day. You're probably experiencing eye strain, and nothing can fatigue you more than eye strain. Okay. So make sure that every hour that you get up, you stretch, you walk around. This is not your time to go ahead and do laundry and wash dishes and do all the things, out there, but just making sure that you are taking a break, at least a 5-minute, 10-minute break that will allow you to bring some energy, okay, back into your body. Okay. The fifth tip that I'm going to share is scheduling time with your family. Okay. Now, this is a big one for me because once again, part of my shift is, when I'm here with my family in the Virgin Islands, it's like more of us, right? And when I'm in Maryland, it's like literally just me. So I'm accustomed of working on my own schedule. I could plan things, but here I have to be present, with my family. So do you have time, scheduled times, designated time that you have, spending with your family? So your family won't end up resenting you and resenting what you're trying to build, which is your business. Okay. So making sure that you are scheduling time with your family. You have that scheduled time. And I see that Barbara says, got you on the eye strain. Yeah. Barbara is like one of the biggest things, right? Like if we're not cognizant of it, like we'll sit here all day. And it pulls so much from us just looking at the computer screen. Someone asked a question this week on Facebook. Do you like dark mode or do you like light mode? Oh my gosh. You see the way how my eyes set up? I can't do dark mode for anything, right? Because that's more eye strain on me and it literally makes me more tired. Okay. The sixth tip that I'm going to share with you is have interruption rules, right? So if you are working from home, and especially if you have a family and everyone is at home, okay, so maybe you've been accustomed of working from home and it wasn't a issue before the pandemic, and because of the pandemic, everyone is home. The hubby is home, the kids are home. How do you deal with that, right? So does your family understand and know how to, interrupt you as you're working through your day? Okay, so make sure that you let them know how and when to engage with you. Tip number 7, and then this is a big one too. How many of you out there actually prep for your meals in advance? Okay, so meal prepping, and I actually got this one from one of my my dear friends and colleagues, right? Like my dear friend and colleague, as I watch her like every day, like really get present to her meal prep. Okay, get present to your meal prep. So as you go through the day, you don't waste time having to try to figure out like what you're going to eat. Then you have to go ahead and prep for it. It's one of the things that I'm beginning to get more present to, because I'm challenged with eating and eating on time. So it definitely helps me when I have things already prepared and ready to go that I can grab and I can eat. Okay. Um, and then caller saying yes, she should do that. Needs to meal prep. Okay, so yeah, meal prep is like one of the biggest things like you could shift and actually work. So like I've been putting more into practice of, you know, actually preparing things, putting it in containers, you know, having my shakes, make sure I have my little reminders. Like, guys, I'm serious, I have reminders on my calendar to drink water. Okay, because if I don't remind myself to drink water, I won't hit my goal, right? And I have a goal to drink, you know, 3 to 4 bottles of water a day. And please do not criticize me if it should be more. I'm working on it, okay? But yeah, I have a goal every day to drink my 3 to 4 bottles of water every day. And if I don't put, you know, that on my calendar, then the time will go by and I'll be like, oh my gosh, why do I have a headache? It's because I'm dehydrated. You see how these things show up and how they happen. Okay. Tip number 8, schedule time for your email and your social media check-ins. So how many of you have a tendency to feel overwhelmed by social media, or you feel social media is a huge time suck in your business? And I know it's kind of crazy to be a social media Saturdays, a social media strategist talking about social media in this light, but it's one of the things that I do even as a strategist. Guys, I don't spend like all day on social media. If I would spend all day on social media, I definitely won't get stuff done and I won't get my important stuff done. So do you have time, you know, scheduled in your day that you are checking emails and then you're doing a social media check-in? And then here's the thing, why it's so important for you to have scheduled time. So number one, when you have the scheduled time, like maybe it's a half an hour, or maybe you're putting in like an hour or so, you know that that's your time to do that. So when you are on social media for that hour, because you have allotted for it, you don't have to feel guilty about doing it. Right? So how many of us, you know, will get on social media, or you would do another activity? It doesn't always have to be social media, but think about those activities that you do and you do on a regular basis. And then when you do them, there's a guilty feeling attached to it because you haven't necessarily planned or allotted the time to do it. Okay. So allot the time, you know, to check your emails, check your social media, or do any of those other things that you would like to do. Once you calendar it and then you respect the time around it, there's no need for you to feel guilty about it. Okay. Tip number 9, are you taking a significant break during the day? So as you planned, Audrey is saying the social media black hole. Yeah, social media can turn into a black hole if you let it. The key is to make sure that you are managing it. Okay, taking a break. So how many of you, like during your day, do you have like a time to take a break? Okay, like a significant break, whether you're going to take a nap, whether you're going to pull out your yoga mat and then you're going to do some meditation exercises on your yoga mat, or are you going to take a walk, get outside, get some movement in, get the blood flowing in your body. Okay. And so once again, these are all things that when I think about productivity, that has helped me, right? Like, oh my gosh, you know, if I'm starting my day, and I'm going to let y'all know what I'm doing new. So if I'm starting my day at 5:30 and I'm pushing throughout the day, by 4 o'clock, like I start to feel it, right? So why am I feeling guilty? Because I'm tired and it's only 4 o'clock. Well, if you've been up since 5:30, like, duh, you need to take a break. Okay, so take a break, get up, meditate, walk around, take a nap if you need to. Just make sure that you know what time you're going to do that. Okay, and tip number 10 is the big one, and this is the big one for me, is controlling the amount of meeting times. And I don't know about you guys out there, and you guys could weigh in on this. How many of you have felt like this year you've had way more meetings that you normally have, and then doing Zoom meetings actually like take a lot of energy out of you, right? So how many of you feel that way? Like everybody wants to do a Zoom, right? And so, oh my gosh, it's a different type of energy when you have to show up and on camera and then be present on camera. So one of the things that I also had to get present around that, in looking at how I'm doing my day, right? So how am I laying out my days? So I actually have days, someone asked me this last week, so this is why I'm sharing. So I actually have days, in my week that are scheduled for client meetings. Okay, like Monday and Tuesdays are my client calls. Okay, and I know realistically, because Monday and Tuesdays are my client calls, like production wise, things aren't going to get done on Monday and Tuesdays. Okay, from Wednesday, Thursdays, it's a little bit more free. I could actually work on things on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Okay. And then Fridays is my business productivity day. Okay. And so for those of you who are out there, I hope this helps someone out there, that, you know what, when you take a look at your week, you take a look at the things that you want to get done, it might help you to kind of theme out your days. Okay. So do you have certain days in your business that you do certain things? That's like one of the game changers for me. Okay. And then when it comes to the vein of having less meetings, start to think about what new processes you can create in your business that keeps you off of the phone. Okay. And so here's the thing that I had to get present to. Sometimes people will call and they say, I have a quick question. Do you have 5 minutes? And then how many of you know that it's never 5 minutes? Okay. So that thing that you think that you could knock out in 5 minutes, by the time you take a look at it, it's you're on the call for half an hour, you're pushing an hour, and it's a half an hour, it's an hour of time that you didn't allot in your schedule for that day. And so everything else is kind of thrown off. So what process, or procedures can you create in your business that would allow you to stay off the phone? So if it means that you have to find another way to update your clients and stuff, you have to find another way to do things, and do that. Okay. And then minimize the time that you are on the phone that would allow you to put that energy towards the things that you should be doing in your business. Okay. So those are my 10 productivity tips, things that, like I said, for most of us, they aren't new things. They're things that we know we should be doing. The issue is we don't always do them. Okay. So this is why I'm creating mindfulness around these things today. Okay. And so caller is saying, yes, very helpful. Barbara is saying, yes, this was great. It makes you feel good to know that you can be productive by organizing. Yeah. So Barbara, like, oh my gosh, systems create freedom. Okay. Systems create freedom. And I'm going to tell you, I was resistant before. Like, why do you need to plan? Why do I need to have a system? Okay, that feels so restrictive, or it sounds so restrictive. But once I really understood and started to put these things into practice, I realized that, oh yeah, there's freedom here. But the problem is, when I get off track, okay, like when I get off track from planning my week. Okay, so I know I'm supposed to plan my week. It's something that I have scheduled to do like every week, but there are times when I absolutely miss it, right? And then when I don't do it, it seems like my week is helter skelter because I'm not able to block time on my calendar to do this or to do certain things. I'm not focused on the things that really need to get done. And so everything just kind of cascades and, falls apart. Okay. So that's why, we're having the conversation to bring these things back to present. Okay. And then I did promise that I was going to share one thing that might be holding you back. So I'm going to ask this question. Okay. And this is something that I want everyone on the call. If you're not present to this, I want you to become present to this. And this is like an internal check-in. Okay. So how many of you out there are people pleasers? Okay. So my name is Taria Hodge and I'm a people pleaser, right? I think there should be like a club or something out there for people pleasers. So how many of you, out there, who are listening to this broadcast could actually say that, hey, that's like one of my challenges, right? I'm challenged with always saying yes. I have a problem with saying no. Okay. Now, here's the thing. When you find yourself in that position where you are people pleasing, it means that you're actually unclear or you have gotten off track with your dreams. And I'm just going to say this. At the beginning of the year, I had very candid conversation with two of my coaches, okay, around the feeling that need to people please, okay, and they brought light to certain things, right? Like, are you the person that's always saying yes, and you say yes to your own detriment? You say yes to the detriment of your business. You say yes to the detriment of your health, right? Like, what is it inside of you that makes you feel like you can't say no? And like when you say no, you actually beat yourself up. No one is beating you up because you said no. You're putting the pressure on yourself because you said no. And then you go into feeling bad and everything. And like I said, today's episode, was for my superstars with the servant's heart. Okay. So how many of you out there like really serve like to your detriment, and you really don't understand that there's a way, to serve, okay, and how to serve and when you should serve, okay? So people pleasing, okay? So one of the things that is a good check for you to know if you are in that people pleasing mode, okay, are you on track with your goals and your dreams? And so if you are sacrificing your goals and dreams to go work on somebody else's good goals and dreams, that's a big one for you, okay? Another thing, I always say this: a lack of planning on someone else's behalf does not constitute an emergency on mine. So this goes right back into saying no. So how many of you out there have people that call you, and they call you and everything is like an emergency, right? Like, oh my gosh, it needs to be done like right now. Okay. And they kind of make their emergency your emergency. Okay. And this goes back to the question that I was asking in the beginning. So do you find yourself doing things that you are resentful about? And let me tell you, there should be nothing that you do in your business. There should be nothing that you do in your life that carries the energy of resentment. So if you're going to resent it or you're going to resent the person, just say no and then don't do it. So just be honest with yourself. Can you do it? Can you do it with joy? Okay. And if you can't do it with joy, then the answer to the question is no. Okay. And so don't let the lack of planning on others become an emergency on your behalf. Okay, because what it does, it introduces things like into your world that once again, you have not planned for this. And because you have not planned for it, everything in your world is upside down. Okay, so emergencies of others. Okay, and then here's the other thing when it comes to emergency. So how many of you would actually have people come to you with an emergency, and then you get all excited because they're all excited, right? So they're in a panic, you go into a panic, but you haven't really stopped and fact find. And then when you stop and you fact find, is it really an emergency? Is it something that has to be done now? What's the absolute deadline? And then you would find when you fact find and you ask those questions, right? Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it is something that could be moved around. It could be something that could be shifted, or it could be something that could be done a totally different way than they were thinking about it. Okay, so making sure that you're also able to recognize like the false emergencies as well. Okay, and then like I said, the biggest thing is learning to say no without feeling guilty. Okay, so serving with wisdom. Yeah, so Carla, that's like the biggest thing, right? And so coming into this space, and I know that there are a lot of givers right out there, and people who just want to like pour out onto others. But here's the thing, if you aren't doing the things that you need to do to take care of yourself, to take care of your business, then you actually end up suffering, right? You're suffering. And then really and truly, is it really serving? It's not serving you. And then you're not able to serve others well. And I think that that's what we all want to be able to strive for, is like when we show up, in our acts of service, that we're serving well and we're serving to the best of our ability. And then we're serving from a place of love and we're serving from a place of joy. Okay. And that's it. That's what you really want to feel like on a regular basis. But in order for those things to happen, in order for that emotion to be there, you really have to get present, like around your stuff. Okay. And if you're not present around your stuff, you're not present to the things that you need to do, should be doing, then it's going to be a hot mess. Okay. So one of the things, like I mentioned, if this has helped you, like I know it's kind of like been something that I've been wrestling. I'm, saying, oh, this is a great conversation, right? Because it's right in the vein of serving. I always talk about showing up to serve. So let's have the productivity conversation. So if you would like to grab the notes from today's episode, just go ahead, make sure you let me know, notes in the comment section, and I'll make sure to get the notes out to you after the show. Okay. And then also I'm going to leave you with a read. So this week, I try to read a book every week. Okay. So this week, I'm actually reading The 5 a.m. Club by Brendon Sharma. Okay. So can someone put that into the comment section with me, for me as well? So Brendon Sharma. And the name of the book is The 5 a.m. Club. So that's the thing that I'm putting into practice now. So usually I get up at 5:30. And I'm up at 5:30, not doing anything. I don't start exercising until 6. So the goal now is to up that wake up time to 5 a.m. in the morning. So I'm working towards being a member of the 5 a.m. Club. So the book that I'm reading is The 5 a.m. Club by Brendon Sharma. Okay. And some pretty cool, interesting things that he's sharing inside of the book as to why it's best to rise at 5 a.m. in the morning. And then some of the things that you should be present to and focusing on your rise at 5 a.m. So he has a 20-20-20 rule. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to see who actually gets the book, who reads along with me. And if you do get the book and you're reading along with me, just make sure that you are putting your comments into our social media Saturdays community. Okay. So as we wrap up our call today, are there any last minute questions, any last minute comments? anything that stood out for you, things that you challenged with that you would like to share before we wrap up the broadcast. And while I am waiting for that to come in, just to let you know, we are here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Social Media Saturdays. If you are joining us for the very first time. So if you are joining us for the first time and you enjoy today's episode, make sure you go to our page and like the page, first of all. And then also at the end of the video, make sure that you set your notifications. So then that way, whenever we do Social Media Saturdays, you will be notified of when we are going live. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you are not a part of our Social Media Saturdays community as yet, please feel free to join us. You could actually search Social Media Saturdays, helping you to serve, share, and shine online. That's our Facebook community. Go ahead and knock on the door and we will let you in. Okay. And so if this is a great place during the week, if you have questions, you have comments, anything that you would like to share around social media, around your strategies, great place to have the conversation. Like I said, if you do grab the book, the 5 a.m. Club, it'll be great to know what some of your takeaways are. So you could post your takeaways inside of our Social Media Saturdays community. Okay. We could also be found on Instagram at Watch SMS Live. So Instagram handle is Watch SMS for Social Media Saturdays Live. We could be found on Twitter, same handle, Watch SMS Live. We are also on YouTube as Social Media Saturdays. And then if you are on LinkedIn, you can connect with me on LinkedIn via Taria Hodge. Okay. And so thank you, Barbara, for putting that in there. Robin Sharma, 5 a.m. Club. It's a great, great, great read. I'm wrapping it up. By tomorrow, I should be finished with it. And pretty excited. You know, I've started putting some of the things into practice, but pretty excited to complete the book and then put all of the other things that he's suggesting into practice, okay, to level up. Okay, so love it. And Carla is saying, I love all of these helpful tips. Thank you so much, Carla, for that. What time do you go to sleep each night to wake up at 5 a.m.? Oh, so Carla, great question. So my bedtime, Carla, darling, right now is 10:30. Do I always honor 10:30, Carla? The answer to the question is no, but I'm working to get better on it, okay? And so now if I'm waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, I'm going to actually push it back to 10. And so once again, I talk about having a morning routine, and I love my morning routine, but I also have a nightly routine as well. So one of the things, Carla, just to share with you before we close it out, one of the things that I had to really get present to is how to close out my day. Okay. So I was that entrepreneur who literally believed that, your entrepreneur's light never goes out, right? And would work all through the nights. Like, as a matter of fact, I never slept. I just used to take naps. And what that showed up for me was in poor health. Right. And so I actually had to get present in having a nightly routine. So knowing what time I'm going to shut everything down. So what's the time that I'm actually going to stop working? And here's the funny thing, Carla, that I found, that I wake at 5:30, and anyone who knows me, I used to be so famous of having like that nap time, like on my calendar. Like, you call me between 2 and 4 is like nap time, right? And everybody knew this. But I wake now at 5:30 and I have my morning routine. Okay. And I start my calls at 10. Like, I don't take any calls before 10. And then I close out my day by 7. Okay. Like 7 o'clock would be the latest that I would take client calls, unless it's class, right? Or unless I'm, in a coaching session or something, right? That's it. No client calls after 7. So it's like I'm wrapping up my day. So now what I found, Carla, like literally by 9 o'clock at night, I'm cross-eyed. and my team knows this. Like if I ever lose my mind and try to submit orders or try to do work after 9, when I wake up in the morning, it's like, what in the world is this mess? Yeah, that's because I was trying to work outside of my working hours and I'm tired, right? So I had to get present of shutting it down. So what I'm actually working on is getting in the bed, okay, and sleep by 10:30. All right, so that's kind of a challenge, here with my lovely family, because everybody is home. So that's one of the adjustments, right? And when you have young people as children, is like their days don't start until 10 o'clock at night. Okay, so yeah, it's one of those things. All right, but yeah, that's the goal, is to push it up to 10 a.m. so I could rise at 5 a.m. So the alarm has been going off at 5 a.m. for this week, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm just snoozing until 5:30. It's really crazy. Okay, but I'm actually working on being up at 5 a.m. Okay, so maybe not 5 a.m., but I can do 6. Once I close out my day at 10 p.m., I will try again. So true. Yeah. So Audrey, yeah, I'm trying. The reason why I'm trying for 5 a.m. and I'm shooting for the 5 a.m. to make it a half an hour earlier is because, like I said, I start my workout routine at 6, and usually I work out from 6:30 to 6:45, and then after that I go into my reading and my journaling process. Okay, but I'm also taking a look at when the house rises, and the interruptions in the morning, and staying on track. Okay, and so what actually would I be able to get done between 5 and 6 a.m. before I start my workout and before I start my normal routine. So I'll also be posting and sharing what the experience has been like for me. But I absolutely love my morning routine. There are some things that I do in the morning that, like, oh my gosh, when I don't do it, it feels like my day is off. Like I like to read for at least an hour every day before I start my day, reading and journal. Right. And so the times when I don't read and journal, like my days are off, like planning my day. Even though I plan my week, I like to take a look and know exactly, what I'm doing today. What times of the day am I getting stuff done, right? And so all of that stuff might seem a little tedious to do, like in the beginning, but when you do it, right, you actually find yourself being more productive. So thank you so much for that, Audrey. Okay, so all right, my superstars, I am wrapping up this episode of Social Media Saturdays. If you have any questions, any thoughts, anything that you would like to share, make sure that you connect with us over in our Social Media Saturdays group, and take care until next time. Bye-bye.